Welcome to the podcast and vlog Happy Naked. So this is Dee, the founder of Dee Health and Fitness and the author of the book Happy Naked. I'm a personal trainer, energy worker, or healer. I also have a degree in computers. And my mission with this podcast is to share the naked truth through taboo conversations that will allow you and me to elevate my sex relationship, my intimacy, relationships in general, health, and overall well-being. So please follow me in my page on Instagram and Facebook. You can find me as D Mago Happy Naked. You can also find me on my fitness page, which is called Naked Fit, and there's a lot of goodness that I'm sharing for sure. The Happy Naked page is completely dedicated to the naked truth, and the Naked Fit page is completely dedicated to health and fitness. So thank you everybody for watching today. And I want to talk about something I'm very, very passionate about. I became very, very passionate about health, which eventually translate to healing. And you started to understand more about it. But what I want to share with you guys today, it is about my story and how I end up getting into where I am today. So, and in order for us to heal the world, we need to heal ourselves as individuals, and that's the starting point. So every human being chooses different ways of healing, and what I always say is we can choose that through personal growth. We can choose that through going to a therapist or a counselor or a psychologist or stuff like that. We can choose that healing through spirituality. A lot of people become very involved in a religion, for example. Other people choose their healing through meditation or meditation retreats. A lot of healing goes through weight loss and energy work. So there's so many things that we can get through it. So my journey, my personal journey started, and I'm gonna say that I became aware when that started in 2009. And how the trigger, because we always have a trigger why we start that healing process or that personal growth journey. And in my case, back in 2009, my ex, who is my ex-husband today, and I decided to separate. We separated for a few months, and that was the first time that we separated, and then the second time it was divorce. And I have mentioned before in many of my other podcasts is that, I don't think anyone gets married to get divorced. I don't think so. I think we all get married from our heart because we truly believe that we're going to be in a relationship for the rest of our life, because that is what we have been told. But I'm not going to talk about that. I'm not going to talk about agreements and all that kind of stuff in relationships, because I want to bring other experts that speak very, very well about all the different agreements in relationships. However, that is the thing that goes in our mind. We're going to get married, and we're gonna be together for the rest of our lives. However, divorce these days seems to be the easiest way out. We don't really need to do any personal growth work because we think that divorce is the solution instead of working on the relationship. And I'm guilty of that myself as well, because that is exactly what I thought, that divorce was the solution. However, in 2012, we separated, but my journey started way before that. It started in 2009. And what happens after that first time that we separate, I realized that I needed to do some work on myself. Because what it triggers to me is, why are we having these issues? And so why my partner at that time feels that way about me. So that's actually was the trigger. I was extremely hurt at that point in time. I got very depressed. I was very much like, I was so bad that I would eat rice and it will get straight to the bathroom because it was a direct channel. There was no digestion, the direct channel from my mouth all the way to my butt. Like I was just go straight to the bathroom. I lost a lot of weight. I was looking very, very sick at that point in time, and it's not funny to be there. But I realized that I had, people that I need to look up, that actually people that were looking up for me, which is my kids. So that's kind of was the trigger. And I started working on my physical health. And at that point, I was already quite active, but I needed to understand what was happening inside of me, that it was triggering that emotion, that where my body was not even digesting things properly. Right? And there's a whole link in between like emotions and digestion, but let's talk about that in another time, because right now it is all about what are the steps that I took towards my healing, and it never ends, by the way. So I'm not giving you a lot of hopes when it comes to thinking that it ends and then you do it, you fix it, and then that's over. It doesn't work like that. It's an ongoing work. So how everything started is I connected with a friend of mine at that point who she has powers. She had some, things that I couldn't even understand back then. I didn't have a clue about having healing powers or anything like that. So what she ended up doing for me, it was massage. And sometimes through the massage, she will do work for me that it started shifting or waking things up within myself. And then I started inviting me to do different kind of work, such as we did a rebirth therapy or guided meditation, something like that. So basically what I did is I went back to my mom's wound, and I went through the whole birth experience as a newborn, and going through what was the first thing that I saw after that. For example, obviously was my dad. So those are the things, which the relationship with my dad, it's never been the greatest thing. However, it is interesting to see that through that process, the first individual that I got to see when I was in that process of becoming, getting into this planet, it was my dad. And then we did some more work about past life, and I did a lot of regressions, and I had a lot of different experience towards different life, and what was the learning through all that stuff. I also did some quantum healing as well, that as I'm speaking, I'm sharing this with you, I'm starting to understand all the different work that I did. Through the past life regressions, for example, I realized that, well, it's not that I realized, like this lady that was helping me, we find out that 80% of my life, it was with my ex-husband, which explained to me why we were so good at so many things. Like we came here as immigrants, we work really hard. And when it comes to our kids, we pretty much think alike in so many ways. And but that other 20% was like that it screwed us up, and it took us to a divorce, which is quite interesting. And so I also started, at that point, I also started doing yoga. I didn't know exactly what that kind of practices was taking me to. However, I find out that it really, really helped me a lot with my level of patience, and how calm I could be when I was experiencing a situation where I would normally lose my temper. And so at that point, I was doing yoga almost every day. And so what else? The other thing I want you guys to realize is the influence that I got from my family, my mom and my grandmom, which has been the biggest influencer in my childhood. So, and how they actually, it was the relationship with the masculine energy, and was with the relationship with the masculine. And and when it comes to the masculine energy, they were pretty much in the masculine energy because they have to survive, to work hard, to provide to us as well. My grandmom have to do that. My mom have to do that. And then when I divorced, I ended up being in the same program where, oh my God, now I am a single mom, meaning I have my own rent, I have to provide to my kids. Boom, jump into that masculine energy of providing, which also moved me somehow away from the nurturing part of as a mom. And I have to learn how to balance that as well, which I'm still in the process of that. So I also learned about essential oils. Essential oils, it is very, very key in a lot of the healing for a lot of people. And so I also learned a lot of different meditation techniques. I learned how to raise my kundalini. I learned about chakras. I learned a lot about, I started understanding the connection with angels and all this different energy over the years. Because as I said, all that started in 2009. However, it is an ongoing thing because it never ends. And I grew up in a Catholic culture. Since in Venezuela we're all Catholic, I went to Catholic school with real nuns, and you know, going to church all the time. Not as me as a family, but at school we used to have a mass at least once a week, and I think it was on Fridays that we used to have that mass. And and then, you know, and then going through the journey of finding out or learning about the different religions and what actually what do they bring to this planet. And the one thing I discovered about that, it is that all of them, no matter what, whether you like them or not, whether we think the Vatican is one of the most corrupted countries in the world, and as a religion as well, they all have something in common. It is that it's all about love, loving yourself, loving your family, and also to find the God within yourself, which is very interesting. And this last part of finding the God within yourself, it was something I realized yesterday in a conversation with my current partner, where we were talking about religions and different belief and what the Bible says. He knows quite well, even though that I don't really remember what we studied about the Bible when I was little. So and he was telling me, it was basically a very good reminder of in the Bible talking about that we're all God at I don't remember in English how it says, but it's like we're the mirror, or we're basically in the image of God. So, and which it brings me back to the power that we have from healing and from health. So over the years, as a personal trainer, what I started to understand and I learned, it is that when we are presented with different challenges in life, our body interprets that in many different ways. And if we look into different layers, so we are here in our physical body. So when we look at the different layers, what happens is we have our physical body, then we have our mental body, then we have our emotional body, and then we have our spiritual body. So if you can imagine, and this is how I personally picture this. I picture this in different layers that are like from the physical, which is me, it is the material part of me. And then I'm looking into all these different layers that are around me that are all these different things. So if we look at all these different layers, And how I can see it is, by the time an issue or a challenge from life gets to all these different layers, right? Gets through, it's like a comet, right? That goes through all these different layers. By the time that it gets to our physical body, it means that we haven't healed anything else, right? So it is like a wake up call. It's like you know what? Do something, because we haven't been able to interpretate what is happening at these other different layers. So I didn't understand that from the healing perspective until I started to understand the health as a whole, which it brings me to when I came up with the D5. It's a holistic system that I implement with my clients, right? And I'm talking about the the sharp mental health, restorative sleep. I talk about tranquil soul. I talk about a complete exercise. I talk about supportive nutrition. And when I'm looking into that, and this is all in my book, right? So when you get to see my book called Happy Naked, I talk about, my book is divided in all those chapters, because I personally, even though that my journey in 2009 started looking at different meditations and Kundalini and all that stuff, prior to that, I started to be more active. I was going for runs. I was, doing more exercises at home. I never been a person of going to the gym, and that was never been my thing. And it was just more about being outdoors, going hiking, beach volleyball, doing short workouts at home. I never would do a workout more than 30 minutes. And that's exactly what I do with my clients right now. More than 30 minutes is boring. And we basically have to exercise only because we're not as active as you used to be in the past. So we definitely need to learn how to be more active and bring more of that complete exercise that I talk about into our lives. And this is an entry point. We look at the D5, so I'm talking about complete exercise, which is the physical part, right? This is our vehicle that we were given to perform our certain activities in life. As simple as that, right? If we didn't have a body, probably right now in this world as we know it, we wouldn't be able to perform, period, because we don't have a body. And so that's why we need to take care of our body no matter what, because it's the vehicle that we have it to perform, right? And that's built with the brain, with the digestive system, with our heart, and all those different things. So then when we jump into the other areas, which is, for example, I'm gonna talk next about supportive nutrition, because a lot of people look into, and I'm gonna share only my perspective. I have read a lot, I follow a lot of people in my industry, and I keep hearing that fitness is all about 80-20. And honestly, it's not about that. All these 5 elements, and there can be more, right? Depends on how deep we go on each one of them. But all these 5 elements that I'm talking about, it is just they complement each other. They're not one more important than the other one at all. It is all about putting all these pieces of the element together, which is what is going to allow. So I talk about health, but at the end of the day, the deeper layer of that, it is healing. So when we add nutrition to it, is when one of my passions for being hippie, save the planet and all that kind of stuff started taking place. Because what I find out is whatever is not good for the planet is not good for you as human being. Meaning, what it means is if we're looking at, for example, GMOs and all these chemicals that are not good for the planet. And we already know this. No matter if you want to accept it or not, it is fine. We all have the freedom of opinion. However, this is not an opinion. This is fact that all these chemicals and products are basically destroying our planet, our and the land where we're supposed to be able to farm and get all the nutrients from Mother Earth are being destroyed. So if it's not good for the planet, how come it's going to be good for you? So that's one thing that I want you to think about. So that is another layer that definitely we want to think about. And another, so then that brings us to the next point, which is having sharp mental health. We are living in a society where depression, it is a common thing. It's an unfortunate common thing that a lot of people are experiencing these days. So if you're not looking after, and I'm going backwards, meaning I'm going from your physical body to the mental now, and then we're gonna get into emotional, and I also need to talk about sleep, which is also part of our physical, one of our physical phases that we need to go through as well. So when we're looking at sharp mental health, we're looking at, we need again to heal ourselves. So we're looking at affirmations for some people. We're looking at, personal growth. We're looking at therapists and all that kind of stuff. And that is, again, that is one tiny little piece of it. But if we back up a little bit, if you're not active, if you don't actually add some movement into your life, if you are not adding the proper nutrients to your body, there's no freaking way you can have sharp mental health. There's no way. If you don't get to heal your emotions, which is another layer that I talked about already, there's no freaking way you can get over and have a very sharp mind. We need to heal our emotions. And you can heal that so you need to start by adding good food in your system, because there's no way you can you can make good decisions if your digestion and your hormones is completely destroyed and compromised. So think about that. And I'm talking about all these different things because this is very, very broad what I'm bringing to you and how I end up getting to this. Because as I said, all my journey started back in 2009. And, like probably the fact that I didn't interact with my dad very much, the fact that my grandma and my mom are very, very powerful women living in their masculine energy. And that's the only thing I knew, and how I could start making peace with all these different experiences in life. So, and I hope you're following me on this. So then it gets us to the next, it's not necessarily the next one, but it also goes hand in hand with nutrition and health, mental health. It is sleep. That is another issue that a lot of people in our society are suffering from. And I call it restorative sleep for a reason. It is really, really important to see that during sleep, when we get into a deep sleep, it's when your body have the opportunity to restore and repair. So if you have a horrible sleep, now you wonder why you're having a lot of health issues, why you have brain fog, why your hormones are out of balance, why you constantly gain weight. It is because your sleep is crappy. So your body is not going through that repair and restore, and physical repair and restore. So if you don't go through that physical state of restoration, then You know, are you gonna have a sharp mental health? Are you gonna be able to deal with your emotions like in a positive way? The answer is not really, because your body, it is under a lot of stress, because having gone through that cycle to restore and repair you completely. Because at the end of the day, we like, here's the thing, and I want to put this in perspective. Your heart doesn't take a break. Your brain doesn't take a break. Your skin is constantly under work, because it's our first access to oxygen, to everything that happens in an environment. Your skin is exposed, and your skin is exposed to all these different chemicals, now hand sanitizers. So because we think that bacteria, it is terrible, and bacteria, it is good, and that's what we need for our immune system, and the skin is the one that goes through that. Let's say, so our heart is constantly beating, your lungs is constantly helping you to breathe properly and process oxygen and CO2, and then your heart is making sure that through the good food that you eat, all these nutrients flow through your body with the help of the oxygen and your blood. Have you ever thought about all this stuff? How complex your body is, and how you take it for granted until I'm sure you experience a challenge in life. And then it's when we need to go back to healing. And those 5 elements, so I'm talking about restorative sleep, but then now we're gonna talk about tranquil soul. And that's the 5th element that I talk in my book, and I'm sharing, because this is all been part of my healing journey. Everything started with health, making sure that I will not age or age gracefully, because part of my personal growth is make sure, and I can prove you guys that I can reverse aging. That is my personal goal. Reverse aging, meaning that I look and perform in my optimum, you know, like form. So I realized that I have been constantly saying that I want my gray hairs to go away. I want my black hair to stay with me forever and ever. So what I'm saying is, you're gonna see me with my black hair for as long as possible, and I'm going to keep my black hair forever. I still dye my hair because I still have some gray hairs, but I realize is whatever I'm doing, which I know what it is, I don't want to go out on this one today, but what I'm doing is definitely helping. So I can see my gray hairs here that they were showing up. I dyed my hair about a month ago, and it's still black, but I can see my gray hairs in this area that are coming out. So which means that I'm proving myself that I can reverse. A lot of scientists, you know, have a lot of different things, which I'm implementing all that stuff in my life. So that being said is, and I went sideways a little bit, but I want to encourage and empower you in all these different things that I'm sharing with you today, because they're key for your well-being. I'm passionate about this for a reason, because I trust you that you can heal yourself. But the first step is you need to bring your health to the optimum level, and then you will have the capacity to start the healing process. The healing process, well, it can happen also in different ways. So when I'm talking about tranquil soul, is I'm looking into we need to get, and now in all these different layers, we're getting in the layer that stays, you know, more, it is the deepest layer, but if I put it, if the way how I've been showing this to you guys, it is the outside layer, but that is the deepest layer. Because if you know about this, I wonder if you have ever heard of the 21 grams. So when somebody, there was a study that was done long time ago, and that when somebody dies, it is 20 grams lighter after death. which the study says that is the assumption is that that our soul weighs 21 grams. So that being said, is do we go to another level? We reincarnate, we like whatever the case is, that's a whole different conversation. However, we have a soul, and so far we know that it weighs 21 grams. We need to do that deeper work. For a lot of people, they get into the deep work that is spiritual work. It is too much of a woohoo, or I don't want to face my demons. It's too much work. I'm fine and I'm good. But let me tell you this. If you think that way, you're gonna tell me if, and I want you guys to put that in the comments, because I want to know about what is your opinion, what are your thoughts about everything I have been sharing with you today. So, right? So let's say you don't have to heal your spirit or anything, everything is fine. Then tell me if your health is perfect. Meaning you're free of pain, your digestion is perfect, it's sharp, you sleep like an angel. You know, your emotions, you're emotionally intelligent. If you are able to deal with situations in a very zen way, let's put it that way. If you're that person, I want you to put the comments below and you tell me what you do. Because it means is everything, whatever you're doing, it's working for you. We need that formula so then we can replicate that. But the reality of that is absolutely everyone I talk to these days, because of the nature of the work that I do with people, absolutely everyone without exception have some sort of pain. And I will speak about me, for example. During quarantine, I was doing yoga online. I injured my knee. What I'm realizing based on traditional Chinese medicine, it is the knee or lower back pain. It is directly related to kidney, which is directly related to our adrenals, which is directly related to a high level of stress. See? Look at all this stuff. So I want you to start seeing how things flow and how end up getting to our physical body. I'm working on, working on my adrenals, my immune system. And what I did is I'm adding cordyceps, which is a kind of mushroom, which helps to balance my kidneys. It helps my kidneys, and I might have to do more work with that, because I find that since I ran the half marathon about 2 years ago, my knees has not been at its best. And now I'm understanding. I have been experiencing a lot of stress for a while, because of my divorce, because my business, because, life happens and all that kind of stuff. I'm finding myself being very, how can I say this? Being very sensitive to what is happening in the world right now. And I speak to my clients, and a lot of my clients are feeling the same way. So that is definitely something that I really have to learn how to cope with it, and how I can keep my energy at a very high level, that no matter what is happening around, I'm protected and I'm allowing healing to happen also. So it is very interesting, because your body is capable of doing all that stuff and more. So your body is capable of doing all that and more. The question is, are you willing to do the work? And that is my final question for you guys today. Are you willing to do the work? Heal your body, your mind, and your emotions and your soul. Are you willing to do that? Are you willing? How are you going to do that? That's easy. The big question is, are you willing to do that healing? Are you willing to do the work? Are you willing to keep your body healthy so then the healing can happen? So I want to hear from you. I want to hear your comments. Please, you can find me and follow me. This is going to be like, follow me on YouTube, follow my YouTube channel, subscribe to my YouTube channel where you can see all the vlogs. You know, follow me on Instagram under Happy Naked. If you go to Facebook, you can find me as a Happy Naked, Naked Fit, D Health and Fitness, all these different areas, because my mission in this planet, it is to bring more health and healing to this planet so we can be in harmony, not only with ourselves, but also with our environment. That's something that is always been a calling for me. And I want to be able to be part of this collective healing to elevate us all, and so we can elevate, and we elevate ourselves through love, relationship, healing. Once you heal yourself, then you can go to the next level. So those are the things that we need to start working on. And please follow me again, put your comments below, and let me know, what are your thoughts about this? What do you think? And thank you very much for listening. I really appreciate this very much, that you're taking the time to listen to the message, because I'm sure there's something that you needed to hear today that is going to trigger that journey that you're gonna get on going forward. So I trust this, and I trust the universe that is allowing me to put this message nice in a way that you can get what you needed to hear today, that is going to allow you to move forward. I'm always here to support you. My way to help you and support you is through my fitness programs, which are completely online now. I will be sharing that in the comments as well if you want to get more information about it. And I also support in all the 5 areas that I mentioned. So, because it's part of it, it's part of that. I believe in that. I believe that fitness is just one tiny little piece that is going to allow you to complete and start the healing. So have a wonderful day, and I'm looking forward to hear and see you going forward. And please subscribe to my YouTube channel, subscribe to my Facebook pages, and follow me on Instagram. Thank you very much, and have a wonderful day.